This is Action Wrestling News with your lead reporter, CEO Matt Griffin.
All right, do your intro, sir. We are live. Live. It's your show.
Oh, I'm supposed to do the intro?
Yeah, it's your show.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Chuck.
No, this is
Oh.
your show. Chuck isn't here.
What? He was just here a minute ago.
Welcome
to the Action News Report with Action CEO Matt Griffin.
And me. And Chris.
And Chris, well, you just told me it was my show. Are we co-hosting now? I'm very confused at all this.
If you would like to do this by yourself, I will get you all set up and you can do it by yourself.
I would not like to do that. I would not like to do that because I have software where I can do podcasts and talk by myself. And I could seriously get into some conspiracy stuff. Like, let me explain to you how the NFL is rigged. You got 20 minutes. I'll take up 20 minutes and I can explain to you how the NFL is rigged. But I'm not going to do that.
We'll have to do that for
because you just make me sound crazy, and it's not crazy. It's actually not crazy. It's completely rational.
Hey Vic, how's it going? Ron Bass Jr., I appreciate you being here for me. I do.
Hey.
I appreciate that.
Hey Ron, what are you doing tomorrow?
Yeah, Ron, what are you doing tomorrow?
You want to come to Georgia tomorrow?
Let's book stuff on the show. I love when we do. We have a history now of telling Ron Bass Jr. what's going on within our show, so that's something we should just continue, right?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. So yeah, it's been a tiring week. I spent the weekend in Las Vegas. I got there at like 8:30 in the morning on Thursday, and we left the red eye Sunday night. So that's 4 full days of Las Vegas, and on the ends of it, nights with like no sleep. The good news is that your boy played sports well. He threw dice well. Lost a couple bucks playing blackjack, but crushed it on the poker tournaments.
Very nice.
Well, I crushed it, but I had a couple nice. I cashed in 2 out of 4 tournaments. I didn't cash in the big one that I did, but I went out 69th place. Nice. And I was pretty close to the money. That was a real big deep stack tournament at the Venetian, but not ideal timing to come back and do a show. And I mean, it's a gigantic show. My God, looking at this last night, it was like literally like, holy shit, we should have punted on some of this stuff. I mean, but looking at it, this is one of the most loaded cards in the state of Georgia all year for independent wrestling.
Yeah, it's something else, and you've been promoting it since the last show. That's the other thing too. Like you announced multiple things at the last show of what was going to happen.
Yeah, we were really active. I mean, that's something you always want to try to do is give people a reason to come back. But we were really specifically active because we knew a lot of stuff we wanted to do on this show. And then, especially when being able to add Anthony Henry on, that just makes it even bigger. This is Anthony Henry's first match back on the Indies. We, back in February, had his last independent match against Redacted. Now we have his first match back on the Indies, which is an honor for us, and I love the fact that we have great relationships with such notable talent. And so we have his first match back, and then the next night he goes up to another great IWTV promotion, Limitless, and reforms the Workhorsemen with JD Drake. So
it's going to be exciting. I mean, Merck coming off of obviously, a great SCI showing, but also a TWE championship, and coming in, and obviously Henry left the Indies real hot and doing real well. Didn't really make his mark, I think, like he wanted to, but now he's back on the indies, and I think there's even more noise about him being back than there was about him being signed in the first place.
Well, it was when he left. It was still a weird time because we were still doing crowd limited shows, and I know that he was not taking a lot of bookings, and we were very fortunate with Action. We've had a relationship going back. I mean, I used to do shows with him a number of years ago. We'll just leave that number blank, and so we've got, when you can build that credibility and trust with talent, that's a fantastic thing. Um, and we were able to book him in some really nice matches, and we just threw out there, oh hey, here's a rematch of one of the top independent tag feuds, and we didn't announce it with the Workhorsemen versus Violence is Forever on my 29th birthday show because I'm 29 years old. Um,
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. I was
Happy 20th birthday.
Thank you. I'm still 29 because it was back in January, but I'll be 29 until January.
And then you'll be 29.
I'll be well, I may be 30. Calendars are very weird.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
So, so tomorrow night will be fun. It's always interesting the night before show because you always have different challenges, and it's every unless you're sold out, every promoter is generally worried like, hey, are we gonna draw? Are we gonna have a good show? Are things gonna come together? What issues logistically may have the next day. And I mean, you've been coming to shows for a year.
Yep.
So you've seen a pretty good amount of some of the stressing, and sometimes it's just like I've had to grab you and it's like, hey, feed me. And Ron Bass Jr. can testify to that too, because because Ron and two others made sure that I ate finally a real food for like the first time that day at like 5:30, the day of the two family reunion shows.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a joke.
I still have your ridiculous Taco Bell order on my cell phone. That when you were not eating any kind of any bread when you were on the keto diet.
Oh my God! Yeah, don't order me that tomorrow.
No.
Don't order me that tomorrow.
We're gonna be making a Publix run tomorrow. I think again. I think that worked out really well last time. Maybe like a Publix hero or something.
I just got back from Costco, so I should be set with stuff, but I definitely could use some Publix food.
Yeah, Publix food, good stuff. So, but going back to what you said about the selling tickets and are you going to be sold out? Like the last two shows, we were looking for chairs. Like that's the attendance we've been able to get at the last. I should say you've been able to get the last couple of shows of Action. So the people are back. I mean, the crowd is back. The Action arena is packed with people. So I'm not terribly worried about seeing a big crowd tomorrow. It sounds like people will show up again, especially for a card like this.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, you never know. There's shows, there's real life. Running on Friday has its own challenges, and I feel like we present the best product in the state of Georgia. Legitimately, we don't have the best production, we don't have the best lighting, we don't do the best music videos. That's all secondary. That's all window dressing. Who has the best in-ring wrestling in the state of Georgia? I do strongly believe that is us. There's wrestlers on top and other promotions who wouldn't make it here because the only thing that matters is that you can carry it in the ring. I've had one wrestler that I've known for some time who I really respect says that Action can be a bit intimidating to some young talent. I mean, because you can't get by on shtick here. Mm-hmm. You can't just hey, you in the crowd and try to get some heat that way. That's okay, cool. And then it's like with the saying goes, and then the bell rang. You better know your fundamentals. You better be able to bring it. And this is a good place to have, some of the top matches of your career because they'll be seen on iwtv. You can get, it's a very high standard. And like we were just talking about, we have wrestlers like Anthony Henry coming in. We have Alex Zane coming in next week. In a few weeks, we got Kurt Stallion. These are guys coming back to the Indies and coming back to Action. and they're coming to a promotion that's led by wrestlers like the champion Eric Royal, by Logan Creed, Alex Kane, Kevin Koo, who are all signed with MLW. We've got other wrestlers who make AEW appearances. We've got a lot of wrestlers who've been, all over. We have, the Skulker competing for the tag titles tomorrow, and they've been, for a while they were AEW regulars on some of the shows. Bobby Flacco's appeared on WWE TV last year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a very high standard. Um,
Yep.
and I'm proud of that. I want this to be a tough place to wrestle, where you have to bring your A game. Um,
So let's talk about your schedule right now. So you get back from Vegas. It's
mhm.
show week. You got to act accordingly. Then October 1st
Yes.
is the so what's the event that you're holding a
So
free wrestling, right? Essentially.
so you've seen some of the shows that we've had. You saw basically everything. I know you did a whole full catalog run of everything in action,
Yep.
and you saw some of the outdoor shows that we did.
Yep.
We have a great relationship with the town of Tyrone. We run outdoor shows as part of their Founders Day Festival.
Down.
And this year, there's Strongman at 6 and Action Wrestling at 8, and that's the entertainment for the Friday night. There's some more events on Saturday, but we're a real, hopefully a good amount of people come out. I know that sometimes we have a lot of people from the town who've come to check us out who don't really come to regular shows. So, this is a chance to hook people, because we have. Um, but we're fortunate enough to have them pay for us to put on a show, just like a vendor, so we don't have to worry about seating. It's a free show. There's no ticket sales. We pretty much worry about making sure that the ring is there and the quality of talent is there. And we've got Kevin Ryan, who has had really an absolute hell of a year in action. He was on our first in our first match back, and I can see literal growth from show to show. It's been a step ladder going up. He was somebody I was very honest about when he came in. He expressed an interest in coming in, and he is his biggest non-wrestling talent is that he can listen and take in feedback and apply it to his next match. But it's going to be Kevin Ryan, and he's worked hard for a year, and he's going to get Alex Zane. We have a good relationship with Alex Zane. He came in a couple of years ago and wrestled Sean Dean for us. They both got signed, which I love. He was supposed to come in for us again, and then COVID hit. So we're happy that we can get Alex in. I think he's going to have a hell of a run on the indies. Now that he's got so much more experience, so much more name value to bring to promoters. So, and then we've got October 15th, which will be in Sharpsburg, Georgia, at East Coweta High School. And we got Kurt Stallion, and because of tomorrow night's show, we haven't announced a ton for that. We basically put out a graphic and a poster, and we're real excited. We've got the actual the high school wrestling team to push the show, and we're going to try to build a big community event on a Friday. It's a bye week for the football team, so it would be really nice if we can get some of those people who are used to going out on Friday nights to come check out wrestling instead.
Heck
Because
yeah.
you know what? We've never had a taunting penalty at Action.
Not yet.
Not ever. Wait, I shouldn't say not ever. Who knows what you may want to do with an angle down the line.
I was gonna say you gotta leave it open. You never know.
But and the wrestling team's pushing it at the football games, and there's a football game the week before, so it'll be announced. They'll be selling tickets and hopefully doing flyers and such like that. So we're hopeful. I've got a specific number in mind that I want to hit attendance wise. So
what's it going to be like to leave Tyrone for 2 shows, since it's been a little while since you've been able to? I mean, there was WrestleMania weekend, but like your promotion, your show, Action Wrestling.
Well,
Like
we've
you
had
haven't.
shows in both these venues before, like with the outdoor venue. And we had a stretch in 2019 where we actually had 3 outdoor shows. We had a St. Patty's Day show. That was an outdoor show in Tyrone, a high school show, and then another high school show. But it's been a long time since we've really had to do something. It's always different. It's always a different vibe. High schools are big, cavernous buildings. You don't always are you're not always going to have the same reaction because especially if somebody sampling a show for the first time, they're not going to know the characters. But that's where if you have good wrestlers who know how to work the crowd and draw people in, and if it's just good action, I can point back to March 2019, our first Super Show. We had AC Mack and Sean Dean, and about 45 seconds into the match, Sean Dean dives over the top rope. I specifically wanted it like this. Sean Dean has a tremendous dive, and I've told him multiple times how much I love it. It's breathtaking. And I'm there right with the now principal, but he was the assistant principal at the time. And he's like, oh my God, when can you come back?
That's
So,
the hook. That's the hook right there.
yes, it was, so if you can do things to draw people in and be like, okay, this is not fat white guys in t-shirts wrestling. This is not like redneck wrestling where they're just going to work a headlock and yell at you. And, it's, this is, we have a lot of talent who's been on TV or going to be on TV. I take a lot of pride in that. Um, we have a show, as you know, with our next up show where a lot of people want to come in and just get experience and get reps and get in front of our eyes. So
You got guys. We were talking about it before we came on. You got guys coming from everywhere just to try to get an opportunity to be on Next Up, or to try to get an opportunity to be thrown on a show, which has happened. We got
yeah,
Merrick Donovan, who's going to have a big spot tomorrow night, and a lot of that came from his just showing up and getting an opportunity.
if you can, it's just simple investing in yourself. I mean, Merrick Donovan was on, I think, our second Next Up show, and
Ron Bass
I'm not,
just
I
said,
can't.
Ron Bass Jr. just said, "So I need to dive." Heard.
Yes, you do. Yes, that is a confirmed yes to Ron Bass,
Yeah, yeah. Yes
because
is in the
I want
chat.
to see what that looks like. So
But yeah, so like guys coming in and getting an opportunity and putting the effort in and just
I mean, Merrick took a ride. He took a chance. He blew us away. There were several of us who were like, "Hey, we should put him on the main show," and we put him and Jack Cujo on the main show, and it was a live stream. So it's a little bit of a different animal there, and we decided to try and see if that would work. They had a nice match. Ended up getting invited to Futures. Had a good showing there, and so we were looking for a particular type of opponent for Kevin Koo, and Merrick fit the bill. He was interested in coming back up for this show again, even without a spot. So it's like, all right, let's see, because this is a big step up. I mean, Kevin Koo is going to test you. He's an MLW guy. He's a TV guy. He works the top independent wrestling promotions in the country. He works for Black Label, Limitless, C4. Um, he, so he's gonna bring it. Kevin Ryan went through the ringer with Kevin Koo, and he proved himself in that match. So this is a huge opportunity for somebody who's, I don't even believe Merrick Donovan's wrestled for a year. So this is a huge opportunity.
That's crazy to hear that he's only wrestled for barely a year.
All right,
Uh,
ask me some questions.
Vic Sage wants to know: are the posters for action done in house? These ones for act accordingly are gorgeous.
We have since day one had Cody Wynn. He's does our posters. He's a big wrestling fan. He's done the graphics for Scenic City Invitational as well. Lots of times I'll give him an idea or let him riff off of something, or if he just has an idea that's like, hey, like the Game Over one was kind of a takeoff of the movie Spiral. You know, he's a horror movie fan, so am I. So he's like, hey, I want to do something like this, and it's like, okay, that's cool. But yeah, we have a great poster designer, Cody Wynn. He's and that's what he does for a living, actually, is design. So he's been on board with us since day one, though. I mean, he did the futures poster right behind you.
It's a nice poster.
We like it.
Looks good up on there. Yeah, that people loving Kevin Koo in the chat. Yeah, that Kevin Koo Kevin Ryan match was like the catalyst match for Kevin Ryan's year. Like that was the one that basically, though he made a poor decision in my mind, it accelerated his career, I think, after that match. The crowd got behind him. Obviously, he got noticed a little bit more. But that just seemed to be the match where I remember he kind of showed that he had it.
Well, uh, you can absolutely have those type of matches, and I believe lots of wrestlers do, where it's like it clicks,
Mm-hmm.
and it really starts to take off with you. You know, Kevin Ryan's obviously talented, or he never would have been booked on a show to begin with. But I did feel that there was something else there. He's been in Champion in other places, and I don't think he was ever really used there. And I've told him that I'm not sure other people really treated your career and your growth with care. You don't have to as a promoter. I mean, my only requirement as a promoter is if I book somebody to pay them and tell them what to do and give them that opportunity. But I really care about helping shepherd these wrestlers on to bigger things and letting them become as good a version of themselves as they can. Sometimes you fail. Sometimes you have wrestlers who get a big opportunity and they shrink away, and that's okay. Maybe they just got that opportunity too early. You know, you may have somebody who's really athletic but hasn't put all the timing together. Funny part is when I've come back and wrestled the last 2 years, I'm out of shape. You know, I don't have any wind. I haven't been actively wrestling, but I feel like it's a strange thing. I feel like my timing and rhythm is right there. And that's why I've been able to have, I mean, you saw all the shows, and I'm clearly not, was not in a pure wrestling form, but I was able to hold my own because I was able to listen and carry my end with timing. Um, those are things that you don't have that experience until you actually gain that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Until somebody gives you those reps, you don't know if you can do it.
So we got one question in the chat, and I'm not. So, in reference to AC Mack, how many times have you felt bad for the refs during his mic time?
Why did I feel bad for the refs?
I'm not
Scott
sure.
Hensley is the one who has to hold the SCI trophy or the action title. The referees are just standing there. No, and I don't even feel bad for Scott Hensley, so he can just deal with it. You know, that's part of the job.
Part of the job is holding up AC Mack's championships and titles and tournament trophies.
He doesn't hand it back to AC, so.
The captain thinks you should have done the crane kick in the TWE Battle Royal.
Ooh, maybe if I do another TWE Battle Royal, but I don't think Jaden Newman's going to let me in the Battle Royal again, because last time I was in there, I retired somebody. I hit somebody so hard they quit the business, which strangely enough, 2 times in my life, and this is just so funny to me. 2 times in my life, I've hit somebody so hard, and it wasn't even really that hard of a blow, but I hit somebody so hard that they basically quit.
They took the ball and they went home.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, TWE had a battle royal a month ago, and I love battle royals, so I said I want in. And there was somebody who may have had a receipt coming from a couple years back, and I gave him a back chop. Didn't like it. Held him up for some chops from Peyton and Lizzie Blair, so couldn't take chops from them. And then I had them whip him across the ring. I gave him one more chop. He yells, "Get the fuck away from me!" I say, "Nope." Grab him, throw him over the top rope. In the back, he's like, gets his shit and leaves. And years ago, I had another situation where I gave a guy a snapmare, booted him in the back. I told him it was probably going to be a little tight. He gets up. He's like, "Are you shooting on me, bro?" It's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" So I've made two guys quit during matches. Me, not like, I mean, God, I can't imagine somebody like a Coup or a Kurt Stallion hitting somebody like that hard. I'm
Someone
not the
said,
toughest
yeah.
motherfucker in the world.
Someone said earlier that Ku would like test your soul. So I can only imagine.
Yeah, I got tons of respect for Coup. I mean, if you get a match against him, that's that's we only have certain amounts of time. With wrestlers, I'm only going to be able to book them in certain matches, so I never want to book any throwaway match. You never know who may become available, who may get signed. I've had wrestlers, with COVID. I mean, I all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm really glad we were able to do a match like B-Boy and Ben Carter because Ben, we had the lockdown and Ben Carter got signed and we had so many plans for him. He was going to be winning the Scenic City Rumble last year, and all of a sudden, lockdown, and he's gone. He's not available anymore. And
It's
it's
been a weird
unfortunate.
it's been a weird 12 months. It's been interesting of who went unavailable, who's now come available again. It's going to be interesting going forward. Val Pancakes, if you know who that is,
Who?
would like more Angelus Lane, please.
No. Oh, actually, she is going to be at our friends in St. Louis Anarchy tomorrow, so she's not on the show. But she is wrestling on October 1st against an opponent that I'm picking. And no, I'm not telling you.
So you've already decided. There's not like a list of like hitmen that you have that you're gonna pick from.
Ooh, that's a good idea. If you have a list of hitmen, please send it to me or talk to me tomorrow.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Hitman, I
Purple
like that.
Midnight. Purple Midnight. I know AC Mac is credited for naming one action event bangers only. How do action events typically get their names?
Oh, I often Cody Winter, poster designer, if he has something in mind or a name, he may include it when he gives me a particular mock-up, like hey, here's a future aesthetic for a show. Bangers only did come from AC Mac. I think we were talking, and it was like, this might be cool. We got some heat from some people, some rivals, and I was like, AC came up with a name, and I love it. So, uh, bangers only because it's stupid. I like to have. I've told Cody whenever possible if we can have the dumbest show names, that would be like acting accordingly. It's just because I started tweeting, Scenic City Invitational is in 20 days, act accordingly. And a bunch of people picked up on that and would use it in promos and stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, I have to use it as a show name because it popped myself. Like the uh, but yes, if at all possible, especially during COVID times, it was like, let's have the dumbest thing. Let's have the dumbest name, or just like something I might be inspired by, like a song lyric, um, um, or just combine a few things, or whatever the particular theme of the show might be. Um, could be anything off of a wrestler on the show. I wish when we're doing double headers during COVID, we take advantage and themed more stuff off of wrestlers. But um, the Have Fun Be Sad show was, I mean, that was Coup and Dom because I brought up the idea. It's like, hey, what if we theme and brand the show with you guys? And because we knew that we wanted to do a big tag match with them, and I, it's like, well, the only thing you can name it then is Have Fun Be Sad. I'm like, love it. So
Book it.
yep, I'm like, that was easy. Um,
Do you
and
have
so
do you have a title of a show that you haven't used yet, but you're like Like you're saving it for something big?
I've had a few ideas. I've had a few ideas which won't be getting revealed, but sometimes I definitely have one for December that's gonna be used and be funny. I think. I mean, because show names realistically are just, I don't, it's the matches that are the draw. So I get a kick out of popping myself with the show names. Um, but as long as it can be something dumb to put on a poster, I love it.
So
Literally, we named October 15th Running Wild because it was like, all right, we got to come up with a show name. Okay, so I think I googled generic wrestling show names, and there was a huge long list, and some of them were past pay-per-views, and I'm like, I don't want to name anything like Anarchy Rules or Living Dangerously, and maybe I'll start naming some of them after 80s movies or something. Um, but
not the 80s movies you think.
yes,
Like 16 Candles.
it would definitely be something a takeoff, something related, but like oh, well, I can't say that person, they're problematic.
Strike. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just substitute a couple words: planes, trains. Yeah, yeah. I try to not give away things that I may use, but
Ghostbusters. We could do like Ring Busters.
that's terrible.
Edit's perfect.
Yeah.
Don't give anything
Well,
away.
as you know, I've talked about what match do I want to try to do more than any other match.
The Battle Royal.
Explain that.
So, this is the greatest idea ever, and I can't wait for us to actually have one. The Battle Royal is a battle royal where everyone is named in some fashion Matt. Now, this is not as simple as just CEO Matt Griffin. You could possibly have other Matts in there or people that have Matt associated with them. So there's an endless opportunity to have an amazing battle royal. So it needs to happen. Yes,
I mean,
Val is all in the battle royal. Can't believe it hasn't happened yet, Captain. Vic has got some dumb names for shows. I don't know what those are.
mayonnaise surprise. The softest part of the ring. Oh, I like that one. I like that one.
Vic, you have no idea the conversations we've had about the Battle Royal already. Like I just want the Battle Royal so bad.
Ooh, all with bald wigs. What if the loser just has to get his head shaved? The ultimate. Wait, well, how would you determine the ultimate loser?
Yeah, who actually? How do you win?
Oh,
Yeah,
the winner gets like $1,000, but if you take the money, you also have to get your head shaved. So it's like a booby prize. Ooh. Well, not that I'm going to give anyone $1,000 to get their head shaved.
I was gonna say.
But I do it myself for free. So see, we got so many creative ideas.
It's all amazing, and what I'm looking forward to of all these amazing ideas is tomorrow we're actually gonna have tag team champions of Action Wrestling.
Yes.
Which I've literally been waiting a year for it. Like the minute I walked into Action Wrestling, I was like, well, this is really cool. Wish they had tag team champions because I love tag team wrestling. And it's been this build up, and you end up with these teams that maybe you didn't expect. I mean, the Skulk I probably expected. The other two, I don't know that I expected those two to be in the championship match.
I try to be very fluid with storytelling. I mean, you have to see what's developing, what people are reacting to, what works. I think that we definitely have some potential with our match tomorrow to determine the first tag champs. I think we definitely have some potential to have some interesting matches moving forward as well off of it, because it's going to be a three-team elimination match. So you have to survive and not get beat, and we'll see. There's a lot of good ideas that hopefully will come out of tomorrow and propel us for like maybe the next 6 or 7 shows. We'll
What's
see. You
the
never know. I mean, I don't like to ever be too confident, because there's no upside in that to me. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. The skull entrance will be under 3 minutes. I will make them. I will just tell them to play the next music.
It was literally 10 minutes after the hour the last time they came out to the ring. It took them 10 minutes to actually reach the ring. So it is easy over 3 minutes. Easy.
Not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. They will be on a very short time leash.
You got a packed show. You got to fill
We
in
have
all
a
the spots.
we have a super packed show.
Now, what's interesting is a lot of these guys were actually in that scramble at WrestleMania weekend.
That's correct.
So I look forward to the match just because of that, because I remember how great that scramble was. And if they could do that individually, imagine what they could do as a team. What's the rules for tomorrow night? So you said it's an elimination match. Is it all three teams in the ring at the same time? Is
No,
it
it'll
only
be
two
like
teams at a time?
no, it'll be like what I just think of as the SCI rules. There'll be one team on the apron as it's three-handed. So there's strategy involved. You want to rest and stay fresh, but you also want to push the match to be your style. You want to push the match and be the aggressor. So, and if you're just on the apron trying to rest, you may get blind tagged and be in there against an opponent that you don't want to be against. So it's definitely a pick your spots type of match.
Mhm.
I think there's some interesting psychology that could really be at play here. And there's a lot of the interesting part is that they're all young wrestlers. So we'll see how this type of match goes. I know that they have all been talking about doing a lot of stuff, so we'll see.
Is that your main event tomorrow night?
No,
Your champion's your main event tomorrow night.
champions of main event. Champions of main event.
So the
Eric Royal
rematch.
and Logan Creed. Yep, we got some rematches on tomorrow's show, and this is the big one. Eric Royal's going in. He'll have been champion for 224 days. And Logan Creed's getting another. The first one was insanely disputed all over the board, but Logan Creed's getting another shot. There's a lot of people who have said they predict him to win. There's a lot of people who want him to win, and we'll see. Eric Royal's been we've only had 2 champions in action: AC Mack and Eric Royal.
Oh, old bad guy is nervous for the ace god. I'd be nervous too, getting in the ring with that big boy. I mean, Logan Creed is not a small man.
He is not. He is very massive. He is very massive.
But that should be a good main event. Any other questions for Matt in the chat? We don't want to keep him late tonight. We do want to get into the back catalog of some of the matches that we can watch on YouTube tonight. So before I pitch that, I wanted to
And
see.
I'm just going to note that yesterday I put up a match between the Merc Graham Bell and Manders from our September event. That one just went up yesterday.
That's the match, Matt. That is the match that I have said multiple times got me hooked into indie wrestling. That was the one.
That was a good match to have on our first set of shows back. It's wild. I need to rewatch it myself. I edited it, but I didn't rewatch it. But Manders has done a lot of great things on the Indies. He's our 2019 Futures champion. And of course, Merck has had a hell of a year. He asserted himself very strongly in SCI 2021, and he's had some real bangers at action. So um, that would be a real good one to start off with if you're gonna watch that. I just put it up yesterday.
I think that's a perfect starting point for us. The chat seems pretty quiet. I think people are just engaged with your knowledge of independent wrestling and booking independent wrestling.
I don't have any of those things.
Is the notepad at in front of you? Are you getting ready? It's the night before.
Man, there's so much logistical stuff that can go into a show, and it's just making sure it's not, a lot of it is not difficult. It's just time consuming and making sure it's done, and so that I can get into the building and set up quickly. I have something I'm going to try tomorrow. I'm going to try to set up reverse and set up the merch and concessions first, because that can take a while. So I figure if I can get that set up first, that may be a lot easier, because then some of the rest of the stuff can get filled in. And when I have less time, and some of that I'll be able to hand off. We got a great crew that well, you see them on the next up tapings that really come in and help out, and it's really nice. I don't have a school, but I feel like this is about the next best thing with a lot of young wrestlers coming along that we can take um, and give feedback on, and follow along with what they're doing, and seeing how they're coming. I can, always ask them. It's like, hey, let me know what's going on. I see stuff that they're going to do. Um, some of them have gotten booked at TWE. Some of them have gotten booked at Action. SCI weekend. We just talked about how Merrick Donovan got up to SCI weekend. And some of these, I guarantee you that 2022 Futures, especially, is going to have some wrestlers from Next Up. And there's always opportunities. And if you are sitting at home, you're not getting any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Truth. All right, old bad guy. Last question. 2 folks on the come up from Next Up.
2 folks what?
2 folks that you think we should be looking for from Next Up.
Boy, that's an interesting question. I don't want to say Merrick Donovan. He was the main event last time because he's already come up, so I don't think he qualifies anymore. He's done a main show. He did another Next Up, and then, as a result of that, it's like, all right, you hit hard. Let's see how you hit hard against Kevin Koo. He's gonna hit you back really hard. Mm-hmm. Ooh, man. Let me take a look at the lineup that we're doing tomorrow. I'm gonna take a look real quick and see.
Well, one guy I'll mention is Jack Cujo, you mentioned earlier, who took on Merrick Donovan. Somebody who's got good in-ring presence, and just I think he's himself turned up to 11. It's a really good way of getting into the ring and getting the crowd involved, whether there be a crowd there or not. It seems like he does a really good job engaging everybody.
And Jack Cujo had a really nice match in his TWE debut. Rico Gonzalez, he actually, I believe it was the same show as Jack Cujo, but he had a nice TWE match in his first time there. So it's nice to be able to see that they can translate something into a different environment. But I would say Jack Cujo, he's already done a main show for us, but I think he's one to watch. I think Rico Gonzalez. I think I was very impressed with last show's Zach Mosley. Mm-hmm. Zach Mosley is coming in again tomorrow. Jay Lucas, Ash Bennett, Pete Youngblood, and I'm trying to pick guys who have. And there's some who've made appearances in some of our shows, and we don't have anything for them, but they still want to be here and do Next Up. So, and there's a lot more talent that's still like they're getting their reps in. It's all a learning process. So you get those reps, you get feedback. I mean, we've often had O'Shea Edwards and Kevin Koo, guys who are out there doing TV. They'll stop after a match, because you've seen it. We just take a break in between matches. All right, let's reset. We're ready to go. And they may give feedback, or they may give feedback right after the show. And I like that these wrestlers feel comfortable enough, and I want them to. It's like, hey, no, please tell them, because I'm not regularly working shows, but Ku, O'Shea, and other wrestlers who've given feedback are regularly working shows, so they can go ahead and say, like I remember Ku was giving some advice last time. It's like, you can't halfway throw a shot. You either throw the shot or you can't do it at all. It's got to connect. It's got to sink in. It's got to, you can hit somebody in a safe spot. But you've got to connect. You can't half-heartedly throw, whether it's a punch, a forearm, a kick. You can't half-heartedly do that,
Mhm.
because it'll look like absolute shit. And it's nice when I think that's a valuable thing for these wrestlers. A lot of them have great training, but then this gets another set of eyes on them. It's another rep outside the school. You've got to. It can be daunting. I got early. I remember before my first match, I got told, it's like, walk out through the entranceway, slide into the ring, look around. So it's not the first time you do that when go to, you're at the show. Sometimes you can't. So sometimes, you don't know how the ring may feel under your feet. You don't know how the ropes are going to catapult you. You don't know anything. Um, so I think it's good for these wrestlers. And I think it's just another piece to adding, adding to what they can do, and their experience level. I've had one beer, so I'm obviously very, very drunk.
Coming back from Vegas, one beer gets you drunk. All right, I believe you.
No, it does not. No, it does not.
Not even a little.
Nope.
Well, on
Nope.
that
I'm just
note,
I'm just worn out and tired, but that's okay.
yes, and I understand that, and you need to get some rest. It's going to be a long day, night tomorrow. I believe you're also headed to TWE on Saturday,
Yes. I
so
got
you have a
I got
long
something cooked
weekend.
up for TWE.
Yeah, so you need your rest. Tickets still available for tomorrow night, correct?
Yes.
So if you're in
Or-
the Tyrone, Georgia area, for the flyers right up there on the screen, go check out the Action Wrestling Twitter account. Go check out our Twitter account. We've been tweeting about it all week, all month. And then we're assuming IWTV premiere at some point. Maybe we could do a watch along or something.
I'm not sure that it'll be a premiere, because premieres can be kind of tricky, and there's just reasons. I'm not sure if it'll be a premiere, but I would love to be able to do a watch along. I like that, because I like to be able to see, and I like when people use the hashtag for a show and give feedback or tag the promotion. I want to know what people are watching and what you think of the shows. So,
Of course.
and as always, thank you for the Bald Monkey support. It's, especially in these times where we're not fully back to where we were 18 months ago. It means a lot. You guys watching and talking about the shows, telling other people to watch, supporting, and not just supporting, but being there, Christopher. That means a lot.
Can't wait. Can't wait to be there tomorrow. Can't wait to hang out and watch Next Up. I'll be streaming it live. And thank you for graciously letting us do that. So again, if you're just hanging around 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, and you want to watch some wrestling, come hang out on the Bald Monkey stream. We'll be showing the live footage of Next Up before it goes anywhere else. So grateful for IW. Yes, we are all grateful for IWTV. So
IWTV is just such an absolutely, it's such an incredible tool for independent wrestlers to be able to watch independent wrestling from, yes, you should watch the guys who are on TV, but you also want to keep track of who you may be wrestling. If you are wrestling, going to be wrestling somebody else. It used to be in the days where you might try to trade for a tape a week or two before a show, but you might go in completely blind, not knowing hardly anything about them. So you can see their key moves. You can watch the promotions. You can see the vibe of other promotions, like what they bring in the ring. And
mhm.
it's valuable too, because I get to do a show, put it up, and we've had reviews in French, Japanese. We've had people who are watching in Europe. That's cool. That's very cool. That doesn't happen pre-IWTV for me.
Oh, you're global.
Very. We'll just call us the Global Wrestling Federation. That sounds like a fun name. I need an investor.
Yeah.
Does anyone know any investors? Hashtag David Bix or Chris Zellner.
We'll try to find you some investors. But
yes,
we're
Give
going
me
to send
money.
this thing to the Be Right Back screen. I'm going to go grab some of the other monkeys, and we are going to get right into some action wrestling. Matt, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for doing the Action News Report. Hang tight. We'll say goodbye. I'm sure the monkeys want to say goodbye in the waiting room. And everybody else, don't go anywhere. Go take a bathroom break. Go fill up your drink or something.
Thank you. Please watch action on IWTV. Support the Bald Monkeys.
Appreciate it.
This is Action Wrestling News with your lead reporter, CEO Matt Griffin.